Welcome back. We are live with Empty Netters Puckline Playoff News coverage brought to you by BetMGM. Another insane night in the NHL. I don't even know how to start all of this shit, but we are off the rails.
Yeah.
Few of the drunkest games you will ever see in your life last night, but we've got a lot of next round playoff matchups set. We've got some teams still fighting for their lives. We've got betrayal going on in Colorado, but we need to jump into these games ASAP, and the one we're going to start with is the Leafs Sens, and we are so utterly delighted to be joined for this segment by our good friend, Hockey Illuminati. He's been preaching all season that it's the Leafs year.
It's 1967 all over again.
There are all of the signs, but we're going to let him get into that, so let's bring him in. Frankie boy, how you doing? How you feeling? Look at that cup over your shoulder.
Gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to get a little playing time with yourselves and the fine viewers of Empty Netters. What other better way to join the program than the day after I witnessed what was probably the biggest empty netter I've ever seen in Leaf history? The biggest empty netter. I thought of you guys when Willie Nylander put that in, okay? And we were on tilt yesterday here in Toronto. Leaf Nation, the dark cloud was hovering, but I woke up yesterday morning and I said, you know what? Today is Willie Nylander's 29th birthday. As in yesterday, okay? Willie Nylander was born in 1996. 1996 minus 29 gives you 1967. And I told my audience, I said, guys, Willie is going to have a big game tonight, and we are going to ride him to victory. And here we are. The biggest collective sigh of relief breathed out in Toronto today.
No question about it. I mean, you just said it. That's got to be the most important empty net goal in the Matthews, Marner, Nylander era. There's no question about it.
Oh my God, it has to be. Because, dude, I saw you post before the game and you said, and I thought this was a beautiful sentiment, that there was leafiness at the beginning of the season that had to be massaged out. Yes. And then it resets in playoffs. And there's leafiness in the playoffs that has to be massaged out. And when you guys went up 2-0, I said, Hockey Illuminati is 100% right. It's been massaged out. And then Perron scores off Stolar's back and it's 2-2. And I thought to myself, we might need another rub down. Yeah. So how were you feeling in that moment?
That was about as close to a near-death experience as I've ever had. Okay. So
yeah,
Stolar's awful goal.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't see too many of those from the Carpenter, Stoley, the goalie. Yeah. He lets a terrible goal in. And my ears started ringing and I started seeing the white light. And I thought that was going to be it. And I tell you right now, fellas, it would have been apocalypse now if the Leafs lost last night, because they probably would not have won Game 7 at home on a Saturday night. You know, all the narrative, the demons. So last night, really, the real Leaf fans knew that last night was kind of the real Game 7. And how poetic for the Leafs to bounce back right away. It's not like they dragged it out. Minutes later, Max Pacioretty, wearing number 67.
Yes.
Who, by the way, he scored the first goal of the year for Toronto this season. The first goal of the Leafs regular season was scored by, for the first time in history, a player wearing number 67. So signs, fellas. It's written in the stars. Dude,
Frank, it's actually insane. And I'm curious. Have you ever seen the movie The Number 23 starring Jim Carrey?
Yes, of course I have. Yeah,
we love that is literally your life now.
Yeah.
Like you are just living in this world where the number 67 is the only thing that you see. I'm picturing that your vision is just the Matrix, but it's all 6s and 7s, and you're just slowly losing your mind. Yeah. But you're so right, man. It's funny. We talked about it on the pod, and I was like, you know what? I actually think this is going to Game 7, but I think the Leafs do take care of business. But then last night, watching that game, when the Sens tied it up 2-2, I was like, I actually don't think they'll win it. Like if they let this get to Game 7 this way, this might be too devastating to come back from. Yeah. And yeah, man, listen, that was as monster as it gets. Like that goal from number 67, Max Pacioretty, was so much better than we've ever seen the Leafs in this era. Well, dude, like that was responding to pressure like we've never seen. It's another good sign.
Yes, that's all I was going to ask you, Frank, is that exact response. Even before he scored, I forget who it was, but there was a really good chance there. It was kind of like a little 2-on-1, and that whole shift was a ton of pressure. And the broadcast was saying during that shift, they were like, we're really going to have to see how the Leafs respond here after that gut punch to go down to make it 2-2. And that response, that answer is something I haven't seen from you guys in a decade.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we fell in love with this team in terms of it feeling different. We've been saying that for a long time. It feels different. It's different this year. one of the reasons we fell in love with this team was because, you know, almost without fail, every time the Leafs would play a really crappy game, go on a 2-game slide, they'd turn it around right away. They never let things get out of hand. And they responded in a big way last night. And don't forget, like, you know, the Leafs hit 4 or 5 posts last night. Okay. Yes. It was a close game, but it could have been out of reach, you know, halfway through the game. There was a number of posts that they hit. Leafs played really good. You know, Ottawa battled hard. Their season was on the line. Obviously, they were buzzing. Kachuk and Stützle, I mean, those guys are something else watching them play. But, you know, the Leafs defense really locked things down, and they deserve a ton of credit for this series victory.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And how important do you think that Matthews goal was? Because I do think, you know, we'd seen Matthews on the score sheet already in the first 3 games, but then you get game 4, game 5, those closeout games, and they can't get it done, and all that fear starts creeping in. Him to get on the board early, was that
on a peeper?
On a peeper too. Yep. What did you say? That was the first time Matthews has scored in a game 6.
A power play goal in a game 5, 6, or 7 ever.
Like these are, if you take off the Illuminati hat for a second and just look at it as an objective hockey fan hat,
yes,
is that something you see and you're like, no, this is different? I know everyone says it every year, but it actually does feel different.
You know, Austin Matthews, I can't tell if he's incredibly unlucky or if he's actually not clutch. I don't know. I don't know. It might be a bit of both. There's certainly, like, he's hit a lot of posts in this series. Okay. He had a chance to end it in game 4 in overtime off the iron. He's definitely still playing injured. Not that that's an excuse. It's playoff time. Everyone's playing hurt. But symbolically, that was massive for our captain, who has looked pretty mediocre in the playoffs so far, along with Mitch Marner. Very mediocre, both of them, which is concerning going into the second round here. But to see him do that on the power play, and I don't know if it was a shot attempt or if it was a pass to Nyes, who maybe went the wrong way. Either way, it was beautiful and much needed. So, yeah, the boys look great. You know, we're buzzing here. We're fired up. And,
I think it honestly doesn't matter how it went in, Frank. It's almost better that you see one sneak in, because I thought the same thing. We were on a live bingo for the first period, and it was like, I was like, I swear that was he was looking for Nyes' tip, and then Nyes just gave him the flamingo, but it went in. He was like, oh, that works too. Yeah,
doesn't matter. Puck's on net.
But you're so right, dude, because I would say that was kind of the narrative at Four Nations too, as USA fans being like, oh, where's Matthews? Oh, he had his chances in overtime, couldn't get it done. So it's the famous cliche, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Just to see one go in, I guarantee does wonders for the kid, just for the confidence level moving into the next round.
Massive. And the thing with Matthews too, you know, he's been a beast in the faceoff dot, utterly dominating the dot. And, you know, a lot of nights in this series, world-class defensively. Okay. So although he's not scoring the same way that we've seen him score in previous years, that patented Matthews shot, it's just not there this year. Again, something's going on with an injury, mystery injury. We don't know, but he's finding a way to make a difference in other areas of the ice.
Dude, incredible point, by the way, on the faceoff dot, because our boy Shane Pinto has had the job of going up against that Matthews line all series. Even when they're not in Ottawa and they can't get the matchups they want, they're finding ways to get him on the ice. Matthews rinsed him at the dot last night, dude. Like literally, I think he won first 5 or 6 draws every single time. Big draws too. Power play, O-zone draw, D-zone draw, snap it back, rinsed him at the dot. So great call by you. I thought he's been tremendous in those areas.
Yeah, big time. I mean, between him and Tavares, the Leafs might have the best 1-2 punch when it comes to just purely winning draws.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so dude,
I'm going to be honest, boys. I think Matty Nyes has been the biggest player in this series. I think he is so clearly the most noticeably different element of this Leafs team.
Yeah,
I think everything about his game, how gritty he is. He also seemingly, maybe he's too young and dumb to have any of the nerves and the fear, but like he's just out there and he's like, I don't fucking care, dude. I'm going to be a big body. I'm going to be annoying and I'm going to get in people's faces. I'm going to get net front. I'm going to bang bodies. That's what he's doing all series. And every game, I feel like he's the one I notice.
Yeah, Matty Nyes was one of the only guys, I think, showing passion and heart consistently throughout the course of the 6-game series. And, you know, MK Ultra, we like to refer to him here in Toronto, you know, he is more solid than the Earth's crust, Matty Nyes. And, you know, I think that he was definitely one of the more valuable guys. But when I look at who the most valuable player in this series was, there's a part of me that wants to say it was the Leafs' 6th defenseman, Simon Benoit. Okay.
Dude, I love that. And
that's the difference with this year's Leaf team, is that, you know, 1 through 6, the D-core, we're confident rolling all 6 guys out. And that's never been the case in Toronto. There's always been 1 or 2 squeaky wheels on the shopping cart. But this year, our 6D man, Simon Ball, he stepped up, and sometimes he was our best defenseman. So between him, Brandon Carlo, Tanev, Ekman Larson, like, man, the Leafs D-core, I'd put them up against a lot of D-cores in the league in terms of how stout they can be when it comes to shutting down.
And go ahead. I was gonna say that's been an issue where even a couple years ago.
Did you say go ahead and then just start talking?
And then you looked at me, I thought.
You go.
They've made some big moves in the years past on the blue line to try to get that, and I don't think they ever quite did it. And then all of a sudden this year, they almost created it by accident.
Yeah, exactly. And you couple that with the fact that they have an elite goaltender in Stolarz. The last time we had a real X factor, a real weapon in between the pipes was Curtis Joseph. That's how long it's been since we could look at our crease and be like, that right there is a game-changing goaltender. And it was interesting how he lets the softie in to make it 2-2 late, and the boys picked him up. Just the same way he's been doing that all year for us. Stolarz is built, and Joseph Wall too. Our goaltending has bailed us out so many nights this year, and it was so nice to see, a veteran guy who hasn't scored a goal in fucking months, literally since December he hadn't scored, pick the boys up, and away we go to the second round.
You're talking about goaltending. That's going to be a perfect transition. I did want to quickly just chime in and say how I'm glad that a friend that I care about can enjoy Brandon Carlo, because it's, and I'm also glad that now it's nice having other fan bases get to experience how subtly great he is. So I'm happy for you there. Yeah. But let's talk about goaltending. We've got our round 2 matchup. You're playing the former champs, playing the Cats. It looks like Stoli, the goalie, is going to be between the pipes. What a storyline it would be if Bob's backup beats him.
Yeah, big time. And
how about that?
Yeah, it's wild. And just really quickly to wrap up your Carlo point, he has improved the play of Morgan Rielly significantly. Morgan Rielly has not had a good year, okay? Not a good year at all. And the second he got paired with Carlo, it was a lot easier to watch him. So yes, Brandon Carlo, we love him here in Toronto, and we got some term on him as well. Stolarz going up against his mentor, kind of. Steven Lorentz, Ekman Larson, former Panthers as well. Leafs got a little insider trading on this team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Leafs got a little insider trading on this team. Listen, I don't know how the hell the Leafs are going to beat Florida. I don't. Okay. I don't. I mean, I can theorize about it. Yeah. I know what they, in theory, would have to do to beat them, but let's not pretend that Florida isn't the best team in the league, and they're the defending champs for a reason, and they're still in pretty peak Stanley Cup form. So, the Leafs are going to need to have some puck luck, okay, which Florida's been getting a lot of the last couple of years. You don't win the Stanley Cup without some puck luck. So we got to hope that finally runs out. The Leafs, I would grade their overall performance. I would give them a B in the first round. They get a B overall. So they still have a lot more to give, okay? And we just got to hold our belief and believe in the magic of the universe that maybe these curse busters are making sense. And, there might be a mystic element to the Leafs this year that you just can't explain with X's and O's in terms of how they're going to beat Florida. But I believe they will. I believe they will win in 7. I believe they will win in 7.
All right. Leafs in 7. I don't hate it.
Hey, but Frankie, what are you doing on your end to help reverse the mojo of, last time, the one time you guys made the second round, you ran into this very team and lost in 5. So what are you doing on your end? What kind of, Illuminati hat stuff is going on the back end to help get this to a Leafs in 7?
Yeah. I mean, we're doing it. We got to do everything we can here, right?
Yeah.
We got to, because there is still a curse floating around and the demons are still there. We're trying to fight those fucking demons. Okay. So first round, I sprayed holy water in the locker room.
Right.
MLSE wasn't too happy about that, but too bad. We're trying to win a Stanley Cup here.
Exactly.
This round, I think we're going to hold a group prayer session outside Scotiabank that I'm going to lead, and we're going to gather as many fans as we can and just hold a group prayer session and visualize them in a handshake line with Florida with smiles on their faces. So I don't know. Yeah, there's going to be some Illuminati tactics in the air. I haven't quite figured them out yet, but we got to do all
maybe a little mouse traps around the rink. Maybe when you're at Scotiabank,
that is a good seance. Bring some rat traps.
Put a couple rat traps right around the rink.
Oh, that's a great idea, buddy. You're going to see me doing that. You will see me doing that, and you get credit for that idea. That's outstanding.
Go, dude.
There we go, dude. We're going to put some rat traps outside Scotiabank. That's huge. We've got the prediction, Leafs in 7.
Yeah.
Frank, before we let you go, do you have any voodoo, any magic right now that's already in the head for this series?
There's a lot of busters out there this year. Like, if and when the Leafs win the Stanley Cup, I'm going to put out a curse-busting Bible. And there's literally hundreds of them. I could tell you anything right now, but I will give you one that just came across the radar as the Leafs were winning last night. So literally moments before the game started, Savard on Montreal announced his retirement.
Oh, I know, dude.
Okay. Loved around the league. Okay. Now, wouldn't you know that for the first time now in NHL history, we do not have someone whose last name is Savard playing in the league. Okay. You know when the last time that happened was?
No.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Say it.
My bros. You already know. The last time there wasn't someone in the NHL with the last name Savard playing was 1967. Okay. Yep. And moments before that was announced, Max Pacioretty, a former Hab, wearing 67, gets the clincher. Come on now, boys. It's got to be our year.
Dude, you know what's so funny, man, is last year the Rangers had all the 94 bullshit going, but it was all made up, dude.
Yeah.
This feels undeniable.
Yeah. Hey, Frankie, our boy, I want to just show some love to the chat quickly. Our boy Jack in the chat says, can you ask Frankie if he's rocking with last night's lines for game 1, round 2?
Big time. I mean, they don't really have any other choice. And I think it was great to see Pacioretty get moved up to the second line. They took Holmberg off of that second line, which they had to do. What we did see last night is the third line, which was Domi, McMahon, and Holmberg get moved down to fourth line minutes. Okay, so the lines are staying the same, but they're just giving more time. So the fourth line has now become the third line. The fourth line being Lawton and Lorentz are now getting more playing time. And they did the same thing with Riley and Carlo. Riley played the least minutes last night of any defenseman, I believe. So the lines are good. They can't get any better than that. We just got to stay healthy.
It's fucking unbelievable stuff. All right. So we got the rat traps cooking. Yeah. We love the lines. Leafs in 7. There is no one better to talk Leafs hockey with than Frank from Hockey Illuminati. Guys, if you aren't following him yet, give him a follow on IG. Frank, what else you got cooking? What do you need the people to know before we let you go?
So I'll end with this. A couple of years ago, it wasn't that long ago that Florida was in a series with Boston where no one gave them a shot to win. No one gave Florida a hope in fucking hell to beat the Bruins. Okay. And they did, and it catapulted them to this unbelievable run. Bit of a similar situation here. I mean, nobody really is giving the Leafs a shot to win the series outside of, some of the diehards and, folks inside Leaf Nation like myself. And I just look at this series and say, this is the East Final. Carolina or Washington do not scare me. And if the Leafs can find a way to get past the Cats, the Stanley Cup, it's going to be a pubic hair away. It'll be a pubic hair away if they can find a way to get past Florida in the second round. And we're hoping and praying and believe they will.
Fucking love it.
I'm fired up right now, dude.
There you go.
All of a sudden, am I rooting for the Leafs, dude?
You are. Let's go. Yeah.
All right, Frank, we absolutely love it when you join. We got to have you back on as this series cooks on.
Yeah.
But you're the best for popping on, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Love you guys. Love the fans and followers. Thanks for having me on. Go Leafs, go. And remember, it's our year.
Our year, baby.
Look at that. Incredible.
Good stuff.
See you, fellas.
Later, brother. Okay, that was Hockey Illuminati, our good boy Frank. Again, if you're not following him, give him a follow on Instagram. He's given out all of the harebrained schemes for the Leafs.
And it's genius.
I won't lie. That did get me fired up.
Yep.
That did get me fired up.
Absolutely genius.
All right, well, we do. I want to show a little bit of love to the Sens, dude. Good battle.
Brady stepped up. Everybody, I imagine, now has seen Brady's post game where he's near tears, just talking about what it meant to him, what it meant to the room, what it meant to the city. It's awesome. I love him. I love watching him play. I love that he played well. I think he had 4 goals in the series. And we, I think you did pick the Sens just for the.
I did. I picked the Sens for the story.
But I was going to say,
I'll hang my hat on my pick, dude. I was wrong for sure, but I picked it for the story.
But the Leafs are better. They're a better team, and they played to nearly, I would say, their potential in the playoffs for the first time in a long time.
Dude, and I'm like, they fucking played well. I mean, yeah, those 2 games were a little hairy, but like we said, Matthews is scoring, Marner looks good. I feel like Willie always looks good. But the goaltending and the D, I think, is where I'm like, yeah, dude, they are a little bit different. I don't know if they're different enough. And I'm also not going to have Frank on here and then go into our predictions and sewer them right off the bat. So I'll wait for our episode next week to do that. But it's a tough matchup. And, we did just get some breaking news today. This always happens as teams are eliminated. Victor Hedman played with a broken leg that entire playoff series against the Panthers. So that certainly doesn't help. But you just saw this Panthers team tallywhack Tampa in 5. It's a tough matchup for Toronto.
Very tough matchup. But who knows? I think the Senators played so passionately that that fight is almost what the Leafs needed. I think a Leafs sweep of the Senators doesn't help them going into the Panthers, but that Panthers team showed a lot of fight, a lot of love. We refused to give up in any single game.
Yeah.
And like Frank was saying, the puck bounces a different way. How many games went to overtime in the middle there? Like 2 at least, if not 3. So it's like the puck bounces a different way. Maybe the Senators are up in that series. Yeah. So the Senators deserve all the credit in the world, but the Leafs are getting some of those bounces now finally, and they move
for sure. All right, we're going to kick it off to the next series. Let's get into Vegas Wild Game 6, and the Wild are done.
Wild are done.
So let's go into this. Not self tire pumps or anything like that, but I picked Vegas in 5.
Yeah,
I said Vegas in 4. I feel like whenever you're within one game of the prediction, you're like, and you got the team right. You're like, I was around the right area. I couldn't feel less validated than I do. I picked Vegas in 5. They won in 6. A lot of people would be like this. Pretty good. You're pretty good. You almost had it. And I'm like, well, it doesn't feel that way. And I think this is the series for me that is the most, I feel like Wild fans should feel proud. And then at the same time, I'm like, but you lost in the first round in 6 again.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Wild fans are fucking losing their mind, dude.
Oh, dude. And you know what I always think is funny in the playoffs? 5 and 6. The difference between 5 and 6 is so funny to me, because you win in 4, you win in 5. I go, you pounded them. You win in 6, you win in 7. I go, good series. 5 to 6 is one game, but it feels like such a beatdown versus, wow, that was a really tough series.
Yeah.
So the Wild, I saw a million stats flying around today, and I'm sure they're in misery about this, but it's like last time they've never had a 3-1 series lead. Remember, last time they were up 2-1, not only did they not get the 3-1 lead, they lost in 6. That happened again. The Wild are the only team that has made the playoffs 8 out of 10 years and never got out of the first round, including the Leafs. So I'm sure all the misery is there where they're like, God damn it. But I'll tell you, dude, if you're a Wild fan, you made playoffs this year. After such a promising start, you made playoffs this year when dealing with a shitload of injuries, like an obscene amount of injuries, where your plan, the roster you built played together like 10 games or something. Insane. All that dead cap. This wasn't even a playoff year for them, in my opinion. What they showed is insane future prospects, assuming they manage that money right. Making playoffs this year and playing that team, which I've said this whole time, it's why I picked them in 4, is better than you. You're playing a team that is better than you and is built for the playoffs more than you are and has the playoff experience more than you do. And going toe-to-toe with them in 6 games, dude, throw all those shit stats out the window. I hold my head high today.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like, I think same, but it's also when you start off so hot, you're so good.
In regular season, you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you get hurt, you fall to where you fall to, then you get into this series, and all of a sudden you're healthy and you clap back hard in games 2 and 3. That's when we are that team sets in. And I'll say this, everything is different next year. And you're right. You said that with the dead cap, you're going to I think there was always that fear, is Kirill going to come back? And I just think this project, how fucking sick the X is, how sick the team is around him.
Yeah.
You got Zeev now, Faber's a stud, all these other guys, Eriksson, Ek, Ross, I don't need to go through, Boldy. Like, this is a team you want to be a part of. That's a community, a fan base, an arena you want to be a part of. Kirill ain't going nowhere. So that's sick. But you're competitors and you're a hockey town and you're a good team in the playoffs and you get up 2-1, you want to win. So like, yeah, hold your head high, but I am here to say, Wild fans, I feel you. Like if right now you're sad and you're pissed, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I get it.
Yeah.
Like I would be too. And I will say this, dude, this Vegas team is, last year we saw them losing in the first round. And this year, you know, they go down. And I raised that question. I was like, if they lose this series, do we have to start what frankly we're doing to Tampa right now?
Yeah.
Do we have to start being like, maybe we need to be a little less fearful of you? But then to win this in 6, I think that win is a big, like, fuck me, you know, they're buzzing. Like it's the team that we're afraid of. It's the team that won the cup. It's a team that went to the cup. It's the team that was a threat every single year. And what did we call out? 2 guys that had been quiet, Jack Eichel, Mark Stone.
Yep.
Jack Eichel, Mark Stone get on the score sheet in game 6 and they move on to the next round.
I want to bring this up, Dan, because it's a great point. Alex on our chat, Alex Norwood says, once Stone and Eichel woke up, it was over for Minnesota, which I agree with. But then, Alex, you also said that Hines got out coached on a crazy level because he didn't try the top line against Vegas bottom 6. They were mostly out there against 71, 9, and 61. I think you're right about that, Alex, but I would argue up until the last 2 games, that's why 71, 9, and 61 were so quiet. So it was kind of a double-edged sword there, right? Like you want to take your top line and not play them against their top line, but you've been shutting down their top line that way. So I don't totally hate that move. Obviously, the boys woke up at the end there, but that's kind of how it was going.
I'm so sorry, brother.
And Boldy, where are you, dude? Are you on the lake again? I'm curious if we're doing a sorrowful kayak session today.
I don't want him on the water right now.
Yeah, you're right. It's dangerous.
Boldy Glazer, if you're on the water right now, get off, dude. We need you to just stay safe, stay dry today. Like don't do anything rash. Here's the thing. We talked to some friends with the Knights and they were all very complimentary of this Wild.
Agree.
They were like, Jesus fucking Christ, that was a tough series, dude. And they were, dude. What did we say in game 1? That they lost. We were like, this team is fucking buzzing, dude. They're slamming bodies. It's WWE in there.
I said after game 1 Vegas win that my Vegas in 4 pick was wrong. Like,
I
was
you did.
Sweep. And then after literally the first game, I was like, there's literally no way this is a sweep. That's 100% my bad.
Yeah. Someone Leo in the chat just said the goal called back for the overtime loss in game 5 was the end of the series. And I feel you, dude. I am going to say that was offside.
Yeah.
But those always suck, Leo. Like that is a no-brainer. Whenever a goal gets called back, especially one that would have won a game, you want to die.
Yeah.
To Vegas, this feels really good. Really good.
Dude, yes.
You're now going up against the Oilers.
Boldy's working on a roof, dude.
Dude,
don't jump.
Boldy Glazer, you're a fucking beast. Multitasking machine, dude.
So good.
If you're Vegas, you feel really good because you know, again, you're off to play the Oilers again, who you have beaten in the past. You have a good record against, I think a good matchup, frankly. And this is a team that in the last 2 games for me showed their steal of the Stanley Cup winning team. Jack buzzing, Stone getting big clutch goals, and Hill. Hill was huge for me. I thought Hill and the defense has looked really good in the last 2 games.
Dude, they're such a funny team because they said, we joked, like we talked to a lot of those boys at 4 Nations and they were like, if you guys are allowed to gamble, you should put a future on us. I was like, yeah, that's gas, dude. But they have been waiting for playoffs. They're that team, you know? And the one thing that I think is funny about waiting for playoff thing is every now and then it takes you a second to get into playoff mode. You think you can literally flip a switch when the calendar changes, but sometimes it actually takes a couple games. And I thought games 4 and 5 were a full step above Vegas's play. Like that is the team I was like, that's who I was betting on. That's who I was like, oh, that team's going to roll.
Big time.
And that we can do a matchup when we get to the Oilers, but like, that's a little bit scary if you're anyone in Vegas's path. Because I thought they've been that was the best that's the best 120 minutes they've played.
Hondo P, I feel like for me, the big question was, is this team going to be at their full force? And yeah, I think we talked to a lot of Wild fan friends. Shout out Kaysen. And those last 2 games, I feel like, you know what, man? Gonna give some flowers and some love to a little double wrister, quick spit in the palm to Wild fans.
Yeah.
They're so realistic.
I know, dude.
It's like
Minnesota culture.
You could call it pessimistic. That's the Minnesota culture. But anytime it looks like tides are turning, Wild fans are so quick to be like, yeah, I don't think this is going our way.
Yeah.
And all of our Wild fan friends in those 2 games were like, dude, this Vegas team is definitely finding their footing and they look really fucking strong. Oh. And they totally are. So if you're Vegas right now, and we're going to get into in a couple segments here, the boogeyman that is the Edmonton Oilers. I feel like you do feel pretty confident right now. Like this is a strong team that you're like, we can go to the cup.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Right?
Some people saying that they didn't, I think it's Curtis. They didn't, Vegas didn't inspire enough confidence to beat the Oilers. I actually disagree, Curtis, only because I want you to credit the Wild. I think Vegas playing someone else, you might be like, oh, they were playing great. I think this Wild team showed so much fight that it's like, I feel so bad for the Minnesota fans in the chat here because they're getting crushed, but it's like, I'm telling you guys, like somebody said, I can't find it again, but it was like, oh, Boldy and Kirill didn't keep their Conn Smythe run. Yes, they did. Like, I know they didn't score in that game, but you have nothing to worry about with those guys. This playoff is going to do wonders for them moving forward.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into that as we close out here and chat, keep buzzing because all these questions are so good. This is years and years and years now of the first round loss. Like,
yeah, you're the Leafs now.
Yeah. Like you do. Yes. We said, like, do you feel good? Yeah, you do.
Yep.
But this Spolos,
they have a chance to be, here's the thing,
right?
Actually, you are the Leafs now, period. You are the Leafs now. But I think the Wild have a very good chance of breaking that curse next year. Now, the Leafs have had awesome teams every year and they continue to blow it in the first round. I'm not saying just because the Wild will be better next year that they'll get out of the first round. They might not. And currently, you are the Leafs. But I'm very hopeful about their future. Before we can't leave this segment without doing a few minutes here on Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to retire. The camera cut to him many times, especially after Hartman made it 3-2. And you could see Fleury looking up at the Jumbotron being like, I just don't want this to be over.
I know.
Not only as a competitor on the Wild that doesn't want their season to be over, but just as a human being and a hockey player saying, I don't want my career to be over. I could barely watch that game or those moments for him. And my God, am I so gutted. We said this last live, but I'm so gutted that the Wild couldn't get that win when he came on in relief. Even if they had still lost the series, it would have brought me such great joy to see him get that last taste of playoff action and steal a win just by standing on his head one last. And he played pretty good, honestly. He played pretty good. But just to see him stand on his head one last time would have been incredible. But I can't say enough good things about Flower and the privilege it's been to watch him play for 21 years or whatever it is.
Man, he's as good as it gets. He's one of the great professionals you've ever seen, one of the great men you've ever seen. We're going to get him on the show 100%. It's getting dusty in here this season.
Yeah.
That final Blackhawks game, seeing Maroon and Martinez hugging it out, just talking about being a couple of Midwest boys, great careers, multiple Stanley Cups between them. I was crying.
Yo, yes.
And what in that bloodbath of a game, we're trying to get empty netters out here and watching Flower doing what he was doing. I was like, I can't see this right now. It's a guy you don't want to see retire.
Yes.
So,
dude, we joked like many of these guys just can't have a hard time walking away from the game because it's the intangibles, it's the room, it's all that stuff. This one, that is going to hit Flower even harder than most guys, I think, because of the dude he is in the room. We are lucky enough to know a lot of guys personally that know him and have played with him.
Yeah.
And he is the first name that comes up. I swear to God, every time we talk to a player that's played with Flower and we're like, hey, dude, who are some of your favorite teammates? Flower comes up first every time, dude.
Yeah.
The way he interacts with the guys, teammates and opponents, by the way. Just the personality he has, the pranks he does, the whole thing. The game lost a little bit of magic, got a little less funny when Marc-Andre Fleury is going to hang up his skates.
No question about it. So love to the Wild. I think right now the only thing that matters is Krill. Get Krill back, re-sign Krill, and you are the Leafs. You are the Leafs, but that also means you have a great core.
Yeah.
You do have a great core. You've got a great core in Krill, which you're going to re-sign. Now, that needs to happen stat, because then you re-sign Krill and we're cooking now. You're getting free agents. You're getting good. You got a great goalie. You got Krill. You've got Boldy. You've got Rossi. You've got Faber. You've got Boyum. You've got Eriksson. Like, come on. The list goes on. So, Wild, it sucks. You lost in the first round again, but things look good. Now, Vegas, our final thoughts on you guys. The cup or bust. Yeah, cup or bust. You got past this team who was way tougher than a lot of people suspected, and you did it in 6. Now, in my opinion, we'll get into it. Edmonton can never be counted out, but I think if you are the Vegas Golden Knights, you have to feel like you have a favorable matchup against them.
I agree.
So it's cup or bust.
Some people saying in the chat that Flower was mic'd up, and also someone had a link to the handshake line, or sorry, not a link, but someone, because they cut away from our handshake line to go to the Kings game.
That's right. Yeah.
And I really wanted to see that. If any of the Minnesota crew in the chat, if you guys have links to the Flower mic'd up or the full handshake line, put that in the chat, because I am dying to watch
that would be
after.
awesome.
So please send.
Moving on in the discussions, we're getting now into the Central Bloodbath. Some are calling Western Conference Final, essentially. The return of Landy, the betrayal of Rantanen, and the series that finally gave us a Game 7.
It's a Shakespearean saga, Dan.
Never in my fucking life have I seen bigger drug addicts.
Yeah.
All in one place. Never have I seen a more foul and despicable, disgusting use of hard drugs and binge drinking in my life. This game was drunk. It was blackout drunk. It was ripping the black tar heroin. It was dusting rails left and right. What the hell happened last night?
Dude, I had no choice but to join him. I was like, I'm gonna have a sober night here. Try to get healthy. Sick as a dog. And then, dude, that game starts boozing right in front of me. What choice do I have?
Dude, we were driving to the airport to pick up our mother and father. Chris is in the passenger seat next to me. He pulls out an 8-ball of Coke.
That's not true.
Dumps his face right into it. Pulls out a 12-pack of beer. Starts shotgunning every one of them. And I was like, where did you even get this stuff? But it turns out he got it from the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche.
The emergency flask had to come out. I'll tell you
God
that
almighty, this series.
Dude, finally, dude, and I said this to you live, finally did a fucking home team with their backs against the wall come out and play a first period like they were supposed to play a first period in a playoff game.
There are some teams in these playoffs that could learn a fucking lesson from how Colorado, not pointing any fingers, Ottawa Senators, Los Angeles Kings, but when you are facing elimination, this is what you do. And I don't get why these playoffs we've watched, teams just feel so bashful to shoot. It's not like they're getting hemmed in. I mean, watching this game isn't the one to talk shit about it, because they did it. But we've watched so many teams just make the extra pass, getting too cute, afraid to shoot. What the flying fuck are you doing?
Pucks on net, dude.
Pucks on net, pucks in deep. Just spray shrapnel at the fucking net.
Dude, somebody said, I think it was, I forget who was doing the call, but the Sens got that late peeper, and then Perron scored like right after it, but they get that late peeper, and remember, they're like this nervous power play from the Senators here, afraid to get pucks to the cage, waiting for the perfect shot. And I'm like, agree. Like, this is playoff hockey, dude. Funnel fucking everything to the goal, because it has to go in the goal to count as a goal. And then those goals get added up, and whoever has more wins. So fucking do that. That would be awesome.
Shoot the puck. And it's so funny you say that, because we got a game, and I sent out a how dare tweet about Mikko Rantanen. You get a game where Mikko Rantanen seems to have found his game 4 points in a period.
Go up 4-3. Yeah.
4 points in a period, and what gave them the go-ahead goal at the time. All of that happens, and Colorado still wins this game. The absolute sack on this team, on this Colorado team, to force this Game 7 when that is going on.
Dude,
you've got 2 Judases on this team.
Yeah.
You've got Duchesne and you've got Rand. Oh my God. Duchesne's doing the heartbreaker Shelly out here. Like, these guys are just they're villains. They don't give a shit about you. And you've got that going on, that emotional turmoil going on, and then Rantanen is having the best game since the trade.
Oh my
Without
God.
a doubt.
Dude, on either team.
Yes. He had 2 teams to do it. This is his best game on either team. And he has that period. That could have killed you. That could have snatched your soul out of your body. But what does this team do? fire shot. Just pepper in the goalie.
Yep.
Good goalie.
Oh my God. One of the best. One of our best. But dude, Dan, the I think it's South Park where one of the dads just has like the biggest sack, like they're dragging their massive.
It's in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah. This sack's in a
Randy
wheelbarrow.
Marsh, dude.
Randy Marsh, dude. I actually thought that this was a wheelbarrow race. Both teams with their sacks in a wheelbarrow, because if you are the Stars and you go, listen, we won Game 5 at home. We're in Colorado, tough place to play. We've lost many times this year. I'm kind of thinking, we'd love to close it out, but the Avs could win this, and then we still feel good coming home to Dallas. And I made this fucking reference last time with the tennis thing when you just punch us. Dude, when the Avs take 180 shots in the first period and you're down 2-0, I go like this. Monday. Dude, literally, and no problem. So happy with that. Get the barbecue grills going, dude. Get the smoker hot, because I need the baby backs on the grill for Game 7. Fine, no issue with me. But dude, they came out and punched back so hard in that second period that their sack grew, dude. It's like the Grinch's heart. Both sacks were just growing so fast that I didn't know which one was going to weigh more at the end of the night. And it happened to be Colorado, but I give Dallas a lot of credit for that, dude.
A lot of credit for dealing with a bigger sack.
Yeah, they're like, dude, I have the biggest balls I've ever seen, but those fucking watermelons are crazy, bro.
I can't get over in a series like this. I always love when, first of all, Game 7s are just so choice.
Yeah,
getting a Game 7 is like Christmas morning. Hold on, someone just asked what's happening with the audio. Diamond the Dev. Wait, what happened, Wags?
Nice. Okay.
All right. Audio's back. Wags is in his bag, dude. Wags bag. Wags duffel. Sorry about that, chat. I love Game 7s. It's like Christmas morning. It's like Christmas morning every day when there's a Game 7. And when you are just an objective hockey fan, certainly when you are like us doing what we're doing, it is the best to see.
Yep.
I have no fucking clue what is going to happen in this series. And I can't remember the last time I felt this way. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of Game 7s that I've gone into that I've been like, I think this team's going to take it, and it goes the other way.
Yeah.
There are plenty that I've been like, I think this team's going to take it, and then that's exactly how it goes. This one, I have no fucking idea. This is the most coin flip of a series I have seen in a long time, and that gets me so fucking turned on, I can't even begin to say it. I might watch this Game 7 in a silk robe with oils, candles, chocolates.
TV balancing precariously over the bath.
A glass of wine. You're telling me that I'm getting this Game 7 on a Saturday?
And dude, it's what we wanted, right? Like we all said Dallas Avs. I was like, oh my God, that's got to go 7. And it's kind of gone in such a wacky way. Like I can't believe this is how we got to 7. Quickly want to say, chat just said, just nicked it. I kind of feel like that's a euphemism, but just nicked. It says DeBoer is 8-0 in Game 7. Dude, yes. Somebody, I think it was Tyler. Somebody hit me with that stat in a previous live, and I was like, "What? That's no way that's true." But it is a fact. And dude, we said, I said when Dallas won last show, I said when they won Game 5, they've now locked in the only way they can lose. The only way they can lose the series is if they lose, and again, DeBoer loses in the Game 7 for the first time ever. So that's what we're up against now.
Yeah.
And dude, I genuinely don't know. You said you can't decide what to do. Neither can I. And I just want to enjoy this game.
Same.
And I actually hope, even though I'm going to bet on an empty netter, because as always, we're betting on the empty netters, but I hope this goes to overtime, because can you imagine? But I don't even know which fucking team feels better. On the one hand, I'm like, yeah, Dallas is going home, where they feel great. They beat Colorado. They beat them in the regular season. They beat them twice this playoffs. Like, they're good, dude. They fought for home ice all year, and now they got it. But on the other hand, I'm the Avs, and I go, One game. They don't have Miro. They don't have Robo. One game. I can't beat them.
I saw a photo of Miro practicing again.
Yeah, you want him in?
He's just smirking. He looks good. He looks fresh as lettuce. What I can't get over is that this Dallas team is doing what they're doing without their best defenseman, objectively. No offense, Harley. You're a beast. No offense.
Beast. Will be a beast. Will be a beast.
And without Robo, probably their best forward. Is Mikko Rantanen maybe more talented? Sure. But who has been the horse for this team? It's Robo.
Yeah.
If this team wins and they get those guys back, and you are, I don't give a fuck between Jets and Blues, you're like, we're going to lose in 4. The fact that this Dallas team is doing what they're doing without those two guys is wrinkling my fucking brain, dude. Wrinkling it. It's like a crumpled up piece of tinfoil. I don't get it.
I can't. God, imagine. I was just imagine if Mira comes back for Game 7. I can imagine it will be fucking.
Oh my
insane.
God, who said that? Tyler. If that will be Paul Pierce coming out on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
If Miro Heiskanen suits up and he plays in this Game 7.
Yeah, that would be insane, dude. The rub for this game is because God, this I feel like this is usually just an unsung hero out of fucking nowhere for Game 7s. But the scary thing is Natchez finally got his goal. Kale finally got his goal. Dude, remember the fucking BetMGM odds thing when it was like, who will be the leading goal scorer in that series? And I was like, we need to put Kale last. He's a fucking defenseman. And you were like, I bet he's pretty high. And then you were right. He was the highest.
It was what?
He was the best odds.
Over multiple forwards. Oh, over Rupe Hintz.
And I'm like, dude, what are we talking about? Dude, Kale finally got one in fucking empty netter. Thank you.
Yeah.
But got an empty netter. But if you're the Stars, you're like, fuck, I didn't need to see Nate just get on the board. I didn't need to see Kale get on the board. Because Nate's been going. And Nate's a fucking fiery psychopath animal. He's going to be there. He's going to be ready for Game 7. But now you got a little bit more juice than some of those other guys. You're like, God,
Hundo P. I do want to call, I'm not going to call out by name, but we had someone in our DMs last night, obviously going through a little bit of a crash out. They were, the Avs were losing 4-3 at the time. And in the chat, this person goes, hot take, but the right take. Bench Kale and put in Eric Johnson. And I was like, brother, you have lost your damn mind. And he was like, he doubled down. He was like, have I, dude? Kale is a fucking liability. And I was just like, you are literally saying to put the best defenseman on planet Earth on this spinning globe.
If we played the aliens, if the aliens came down and said, we're from an ice planet and we're sick at hockey and we were going to ether your planet unless you put 5 guys to play us in a pond hockey game, Kale would be first pick.
Yeah.
And
I was
you
like,
want him on the bench. And
Kale is one of the top 2 picks. And you were like this bench.
Like, holy shit, dude.
This series, man, I mean, it's just been as unbelievable as it gets. I think this is the most appointment television so far.
Yeah, it's the biggest game of the playoffs.
If LA Edmonton had gone to Game 7, it might have been that for the story. Actually, Toronto Sens Game 7 would have been that.
Oh,
but
numbies.
This is the most appointment television of the playoffs so far. We deserve this. We deserved this Game 7. And I just have to give so many stick taps to the Avs for battling back with all of that, the emotional baggage that we discussed. But the fact that they peppered shots on net, Nate just got going finally. I mean,
dude, I'm actually kind of, and I want to say Granny got going too. Granny got his because he was such a good pickup.
Granny got going too.
That's a really big goal. I don't want to ignore that.
The Finns were, I mean, Rupe, Rantanen, Granny, the Finns were firing on that game. Isn't it unbelievable that there's just a massive Finnish population in Dallas, Texas now?
It's actually so dope.
Fantastic.
I'm kind of surprised. You seem to have, your takeaway from that game really seems to be Colorado's fight back after going down when Rantanen has 4 points in a period.
Mental fortitude.
Yeah. And my takeaway was truly the Dallas mental fortitude. The fact that was even a game when you were getting so heavily outshot and outplayed at long stretches by Colorado. The fact that they found themselves up in that game, and by the way, lost on like ricochets, like pucks, Dallas Stars shooting pucks off their own players into the net. Like if I'm the Stars, I go, dude, that took a fucking Christmas miracle to beat us.
That's the spin zone, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but that is the spin zone. You got to find every mental edge you can. You got to find every not grasping at straws excuse that you can.
Yep.
And that is what Dallas can cling to because like I said, appointment television, guys. This is the series to watch this weekend. We're all going to get oiled up. We're going to get a glass of wine.
Smell the notes.
We're going to get maybe some oysters, get some aphrodisiacs going on because this is going to be a sensual experience.
Torque City.
Fully torqued. And I do want to just say before you go into the chat, if you are both teams, if you are fans of either team, you feel great.
Yep.
And that is the recipe for a just sexual experience.
Okay, a couple things. Someone says Wyatt Johnson hat trick in Game 7. I love that. A lot of people saying Kale has a broken hand. We'll keep eyes on that. Love that inside scoop. Mandy, where did this go? Mandy just said that her bracket is 100% so far.
Get the hell out of here.
And Mandy won bingo.
Mandy bingo winner last night. Mandy, you've got a perfect bracket.
I need a screenshot of that bracket, Mandy, but she needs abs. She needs abs to keep the 100% clip going. And then a lot of people saying, can you imagine Landy OT winner game 7? If you're a Stars fan, I think you couldn't even be mad. I think if Landeskog pops into overtime and scores a game winner after this comeback, that's a special moment.
That is genuinely, I can't even begin to process what that moment would be.
Oh my God.
I can't believe I haven't thought of that. Say that person again.
It was a couple people, but I don't know if I can find
it. Well, chat, whoever said that in the chat, that is, I mean, guys, that's special stuff. Incredible. Special stuff. Before we move on to our last game, folks in the chat, if you are Florida Panthers fans,
it was Mandy, Dan. If Mandy scored an OT, can you imagine?
Mandy's fucking buzzing, dude. Christ, Mandy. All right, if you were in the chat, if you were a Florida Panthers fan, we got a special gift for you right now on the Empty Netters store. We've got our Aaron Ekblad Elbow Room t-shirt.
Wow.
30% off right now with promo code ELBOW30, ELBO30. 30% off for 24 hours on that Elbow Room tee. Even if you're not a Panthers fan, it's just such a funny t-shirt. You should buy it right now. So Elbow, ELBO30 for 30% off on that tee for the next 24 hours. And then also, guys, go to our Instagram, click the link, grab into our, or pop into our online store. We got great shit. We got this tee.
Bang.
Check me out. We got this unbelievable stuff. We got crew necks. We got long sleeves. We got tees. We got our unbelievable War Road stuff. It's amazing shit. You guys love us. We love you. Grab some merch. Swag yourself out this summer.
All Panthers fans in this chat, go get that shirt right now. It's going to be your ride or die the rest of the playoffs. And even if you're not a Panthers fan, but you know one, send them the link, Elbow30, all-time shirt. And it's going to be, I'm telling you, there's always a piece of apparel that gets me through the playoffs. Like when the Bees are on a run, it's like some dumbass hat I'm wearing every time or something like that. So this is good. If you're a Panthers fan and you want to ride it all the way to the cup, this is it. Wags, can you put the merch store link in the chat? Some people asking. Link to the merch store coming in the chat. Elbow30, 30% off.
Love it. All right, let's pop in and we'll finally discuss the biggest nightmare in LA Kings history, maybe.
Dude, I'm having a hard time processing this series. We both picked Kings in 7, and the thought of the Kings losing in 6 after the first 2 games is so unthinkable to me. Truly, dude, on every level, that I just can't believe this is the reality.
Yes. I don't know where to begin.
Me neither.
So, guys, we're talking Kings, Oilers right now on the live. Oilers bounced the Kings out of the playoffs in the first round for the 4th straight year, and they do it in 6 games. Only Oilers fans, truly, only Oilers fans could have predicted this in 6. And all the credit in the world to you. After 2 games, after 1 game, frankly, no one predicted this.
Yep.
No one predicted this, and we have a lot to discuss here, but I think first and foremost, this is devastating for the Kings players.
Yes.
I feel awful for the Kings players. Darcy Kemper, almost first and foremost.
Yep.
But you also look at guys like Kopi and Dewey who are getting older up there. This is a nightmare for them. Like you're entering the back 9. Truly, maybe the last couple of holes.
I was going to say, we're not entering the back 9. We are coming down
of your career,
coming up 18 fairway.
And the last 4 years, you have been bounced from the playoffs in the first round against the same fucking team. That is the shit that haunts you at night. This game, we talked about the Avs.
Yep.
Dallas. When your back's against the fucking wall, what do you got to do? Pepper fucking shots on net, especially when this team's technical backup goalie is in the net and has been for the last 3 fucking games. This guy you can't beat him.
Correct.
You can't beat their backup goalie. And they get on this, they get on the sheet first, and that's great. QB gets a huge goal, gets them up 1-0. But this fucking Oilers team, man, especially in that arena, immediate goal. Then Clarkey gets them the lead again for the Kings. Immediate goal. And I said on our show, if you are the Kings in this game 6, unfortunately for Kemper, who had been a monster for them in games 4 and 5, what you can't do is give up more than 2 goals in this game.
Yeah.
Just how it was, dude. I hate to say it, but that's just how it was. And they gave up 3 in the first period.
Dude, you said it. And it's like and Kemper is so hard done by in this series. I genuinely think he did everything you needed him to do. I actually believe that, even though you look at the goal numbers and you're like, that's too high. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
I'd actually love to check out his playoff stats when it's all said and done. But man, you were spot on. You said 3 goals all game, I think. Like if they score, or you even said 2 to me before the game started. Like if they give up 2 goals, they're going to lose.
Literally, I was like, Kemper needs to give up 1 goal, frankly. If 2, I could see it being a win, but it cannot be more than 2.
Yeah, dude, what sucks is he finishes with an 8.89 save percentage and a 3.74 goals against, when his regular season, his Vezina nomination regular season was 9.21 save percentage, 2.02 goals against, 5 shutouts. So I guess maybe I got to check myself where I'm like, that's not an 8.89, 3.74 isn't good enough. But when you watch, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like such a fucking idiot where you're like, but just watch the game. It's different. The numbers don't tell the whole story. The numbers always tell the story, Dan. But it's like, he didn't seem to be the problem to me in that game. But yes, dude, 3 goals going in the first period. And I'm like, we're done here, dude.
Yeah, it sucks. You've got I wanted to bring this up, and Oilers fans in the chat. Hopefully, there's tons of you. We had a great day yesterday on Twitter after the death threats. The Oilers fans
to mom, my beautiful mother who's here.
After the death threats from Oilers fans, a lot of Oilers fans got really nice yesterday, and I love that. We're gonna get into how good the Oilers are, but I want to say this: the LA Kings in this series, a Vezina nominated goalie, top power play in the playoffs, home ice advantage. They led for most of the series, second most goals in the playoffs, had young players stepping up, and Edmonton still wins.
Yep.
This one hurts more than any of the last 4. No doubt about it. And we had a couple of great Oilers fans who were telling us we needed to wear the clown noses for this one. And as you know, we wore clown noses our last episode when Florida crushed Tampa. I refuse in this because I stand by, we were not wrong. We were not wrong. Obviously, we were wrong in picking the Kings to win. But if you remember, I begrudgingly picked the Kings to win. Or I shouldn't say begrudgingly. I frighteningly picked the Kings to win in 7. And I said, if they lose a single game at home, it's over.
Yep.
And they lost a game at home. And I was like, boom, that's it. Talking to so many people. And obviously, it goes without saying, I love so many of the boys on that team. That's why we show them love all the time. And the Kings, one of, if not the best organization in the NHL as far as how they treat their fans, how they treat people. Love them. But I said, after that Game 5 loss, I was like, it's done. Like, if you lose this game, it's over in 6. They needed to win that and I was like, and it'll probably still go 7, even if they win Game 5. But they lost at home and with a bad performance. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is done. We're done here.
Yeah, dude, this is people, a lot of Kings fans in the chat are really upset. And it's some of the elder statesmen on the team that I think the rapid reaction here is like extreme blow up, like blow everything up in LA. This is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to knock you on that take, especially right now when you've had no time to breathe. Some of the guys on the Kings, old and young, but some of the guys on the Kings look slow. You're playing a very fast team, but some of the guys on the Kings looked very slow.
Yeah.
And didn't have the fight back that we just said Dallas had, right? Where you're like, oh my God, we're on our heels. We're getting outshot 1,000-1.
Yeah.
And then Dallas goes, calm down. We're fucking fine. I never saw that from the Kings. Like, I never got that response. And that sucks to see, especially like what you said, where you've had this thing where you're like, oh, we're playing the Oilers, we're getting worse and worse. Remember, we argued year 2, the 6-game loss was even more encouraging than the 7-game loss.
Yeah.
There was a spin zone here. Then you get dusted in 5. And then this year, the 6-game loss is less encouraging than the 5-game loss last year.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so fucked up, but that's actually how I feel.
100%. Now, I posted a video last night, and I don't need to stroke myself off any more than I already do. But I feel like sometimes we throw in some hot takes. Dr. Locks just walked in. We're talking Kings. He's got to get up on the sticks for a second here too.
Get in here, Locks.
But I think sometimes we see things. We see things in the stars. What's up, Locks? We see things in the stars, and that fucking happened. Obviously, we throw shit on the IG. We throw shit on Twitter all the time. People call us out. You're being reactionary. Guys, it's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm saying stuff in real time. When I tweeted before the power play goal went in Game 3, Jim Hiller just cost this team the series. It was still 4-4 when I tweeted that. And I then immediately tweeted, are we going to look back at this as the worst coach's challenge in NHL playoffs history? Guess what fucking happened, folks?
Worse.
4 straight losses. Yep. 4 straight losses, and the Kings are dead.
Look, this was my take. Kings went out with a bang. You know, they really down the stretch there. They made things interesting. Yep. Kings died this. They set the tone game 1 when the Oilers tied it up 5-5 in the final moments, pulling the goalie. Look, the Kings throughout the entire series played with their food. Every time the Oilers pulled their goalie at the end of the game, that's when shit would truly hit the fan. That's when you would see Draisaitl and, McJesus come to life. It just felt like it was a ticking time bomb with this LA Kings team. And it's a shame we're not getting to Game 7. But I will say, I think we're sniffing a Game 7 tonight.
Jets Blues.
The Blues. Wow. Getting the job done. The Blues getting the job done tonight. We don't want it. We need it. We need Blues tonight.
We need
for everything. Friday night.
We only have 1 Game 7 currently. We need another.
We saw 4 Game 6s that could have been pushed to Game 7 last night. 3 of them get closed out. Statistically, analytically, we're due for 1 more Game 7.
We gotta have it. We gotta have it. He's absolutely right there. In St. Louis. Give me a fucking break.
One of the best teams since the nations, 4 nations, however you want to put it in the pipe and smoke it. Give us the Blues tonight. And I love looking at these next series too. I'm balls deep on the ice right now. And I have a few hot takes, but I think the Leafs are dead.
CJ asked if we're going to do our second round preview. Yes, the second round as of right now is scheduled to start Monday night. So our Monday morning live, we are going to do our full second round predictions. And you should jump on and join that, and you'll give the hot takes.
But real quick, Locks, 2 things. 1, are you telling the chat to smash Blues money line tonight?
I already did. So maybe that's good or bad. I'm not sure. Take it as you will, but it has to be Blues.
And then give the chat a Nerfy for today.
Oh, dude, we're switching. We're going Nerfy.
Oh, it's May.
Dude, it's May.
It's May. Nerfies are dead. They fucked us all of April. We're going Nerfy in May.
So we're going Nerfy.
Ready to hear this. I'm so confident.
Nerfy, yes run.
Yep. I'm so confident in 2 games tonight going Nerfy that I'm taking the Nerfy. That being the game in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Pittsburgh between the Pirates and the Padres, and the game out in Anaheim between the Tigers and Angels. Both those games are Nerfies, so we're taking the Nerfy.
We got to get a parlay of those 2 Nerfies and the Blues tonight.
No, just take the Blues. Just the Blues. Fuck the Nerfies. Fuck the Nerfies. The Blues get the job done tonight.
I love it. All right, we're hammering the Blues. Locks. Thanks.
Shifley out, by the way.
Shifley out. Yep. Got absolutely popped, dude. Thanks for popping in.
Boys are buzzing on a Friday. Hell of a show, fellas. And I love these next round matchups. I cannot wait for
Delicious.
it. Caps, Panthers.
Delicious.
I mean, I just think that the fact that the Leafs had to go Game 6 with the Senators. The Senators, it's not a great look. I think the show is over for the Leafs.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. We'll get into it on Monday.
And the Knights, dude.
Buzzing.
Yeah. The Knights might slap the Oilers.
Ooh. Okay.
The Knights might slap
Perfect transition because we got to get into the Oilers. All right. Loxy just said playing with their food. That is how we have to get into this Oilers team. I cannot get over. We're not going to hammer Jim Hiller. Jim Hiller had his presser today. He's just doubling down. He's so snippy, and I don't blame him. I'm sure he's sick of answering all these questions, but we talked a lot about you have to discuss not playing their young guys. Spence getting fucking scratched, and then boom, he comes out and scores. Yep. I think Clark was only on the ice for like 2 or 3 goals against that entire series, and they're afraid to play him. There's a lot of shit to talk about, but the big one here is it is so clear that if you give this Oilers team any life at all, if you give them any semblance of fear, I did my Bruce impression from Finding Nemo. Yeah. But that's the truth, dude. And it shows when you go to the 1-3-1, when you sit back on your heels, that Oilers team knows what is our best feature. It's our offensive firepower. And this team is clearly afraid of it right now. That's when they capitalize. You just need to play this team straight up. But at the end of the day, dude, at the end of the fucking day, this Oilers team can never be counted out. And even though I stand by, I don't think they're as strong as last year. I really don't. Mm-hmm. But as long as you have those two fucking guys on your team and you have this group and they have that mentality, I have a hard time picking against them ever again.
Dude, Draisaitl had an interesting post game where he said, he was with Leah or Cap. I think he was with Leah. I can't remember who was doing that game. And he was like, she said, you're getting production up and down the lineup. And he was like, yeah, 100%. That's how you win hockey games this time of year. And I know deep down what he's actually thinking is it's fucking amazing that we just dusted the Kings in 6 and Connor and I didn't do jack shit. Wait till we get going and then watch what happens in the next couple rounds because they are going to get going. There's no such thing as an entire playoff run where they play badly. Well, I guess there is, but they will lose immediately. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you're an Oilers fan, you feel great about getting by the Kings. I have 2 things I want to say about this, dude. And I'm not trying to I've been wrong about a million things. I picked the Kings in 7, so I was wrong about this. But I said, building up to the playoffs, this Oilers team could give less of a fuck about this Kings team. Dude,
and buddy, you were so fucking spot on with that.
Well, I don't care who has. Everybody's like, the Oilers are trying to catch the Kings for home ice. Kings haven't lost at home all year. That's why they got to stay ahead of the Oilers in that 2-3. The Oilers could not care less where they're playing. They could not care less how many goals you're down in a game. Yeah. They could not care less how many games they're down in a series. There was literally 0 shreds of doubt in that Oilers locker room that they were going to beat this Kings team. And that can make a difference in a playoff series.
No doubt about it. I was talking to our boy DJ Bean last night, who has become an honorary Oilers fan for the last year or so. And he's dialed. He watches all the games. And he was saying the same thing. He was like, dude, the lineup is shaky. I don't know what's going on, but there's something about them. They can just find their rhythm. And I mean, if you're the Vegas Golden Knights right now, you don't hate anyone on earth more than you hate the Los Angeles Kings, because the Kings have just let this team find their rhythm in the biggest fucking way. And yeah, man, like I said, you can never fucking count them out. And shame on me and shame on you for thinking that this Kings team was going to take care of business, was going to get in their heads. And it's almost like this series for the last 4 years is their tune-up series. It's like the Oilers play this fucking team and they go, yeah, we have some kinks, we have some issues. And you just figure it out against this Kings team. And then you go on a fucking run,
dude.
And I think my biggest thing was how fucking good in these games, particularly the last 4, are guys like Janmark, guys like Connor Brown, guys like Evander Kane. It is devastating how they have won these 4 games. And frankly, save for the OT goal, Connor and Leon weren't really even doing it that much. You're getting goals from RNH. This lineup, we talked about the depth, and we were like, the Kings' depth feels a little better. Well, on paper, sure it is. It didn't fucking look that way in these last 4 games.
Yep.
And it was the Oilers' depth that just showed up and showed out in such a big way and fucking drove a stake through the Kings' heart, dude. Put a sword in their fucking back for the 4th time and destroyed this fucking franchise.
And dude, a lot of people in the chat, this is so fair, good debate, but people are being like, dude, they have a shitload of points. Connor is 11 points leading the playoffs. You're all right. We're more talking about goals. So I think someone brought up the stat, but there's 9 goals in the last 2 games. Those guys didn't have either of them. So it's just, yes, they're buzzing and I don't mean to imply that they're not doing shit, because 11 points leading the playoffs is doing shit. Yeah, absolutely. But when those guys aren't lighting the lamp yet, and I think Leon maybe has 3. So to be fair to the chat, you're right. Leon does have 3, but I'm telling you, those guys have another gear that they weren't even in this series. And if you don't think that, then you've never seen them play before, because they are disgusting and can go nuclear at any moment. I also want to say, Dan, I don't love the coach challenge narrative as much as you and some other people. Only because it's just that was a horrible challenge and lost you that game 1,000%. And I'm clearly wrong, because everything went to hell since that challenge. Mm-hmm. So like you guys, everyone's saying it is probably right. Not probably right, is right. But to me, I'm like, that is such small brain pussy excuse shit that you're like, oh, this one challenge in game 3 really fucked my entire series.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's grasping at straws a little bit, and I'm happy to admit, like, I don't really feel like that 100% did it. The one part that I do actually believe in, because like we said, it's like, does one thing lose a series? No.
Yep.
And ultimately, let's be real, dude. Game 4. Q has the puck on his stick with an easy flip out with 30 seconds left. Now, I have gone to bat for Q in the DMs, in the Instagram comments and on Twitter, and I fucking will right now.
Yep.
He was a fucking dog all series. He was fantastic. Scored that first goal in Game 6. Quentin Byfield is a star in this league, and he's a big part of the future of the LA Kings. He's the fucking man. I love you, Q. I love you as a player as much as a person.
Yeah.
And anyone giving him shit for that one play, shame on you, because he had a great fucking series and you know it. And frankly, his rocket ship end of the season is why you had home ice, a huge part of why. So there are other, I bring that up as to say there are moments. The one part that I do logically not cling to for the point of entertainment, I think it did show fear.
Yeah. And that's fair.
Dude, it was a bad challenge. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's not like it was a good, like, dude, this is a toss-up. That was a terrible challenge. And I don't know if your video guy has to fucking answer for it, or if that was
probably,
straight up Hiller.
Honestly,
But if I am Luke Robitaille, if I am Rod Blake, if you still have a job, I am those guys are two of the first people I'm fucking talking to, being like, what happened there after that game? Because that was an objectively bad challenge. Like we talked about, people in the hockey world, we were up all night. I was up at 3 a.m. talking to Colby Armstrong, being like, what the fuck was that challenge? What did he see? Oh, Army said that on the stream.
Yeah.
He was like, what is he seeing that's making him so adamant about challenging this? That's why I don't like it, because it was a bad challenge and your team was tied in a pivotal moment of a third period. And you go, I'm challenging this, and if we lose it, I'm going to give this Edmonton Oilers team a power play. Dude, it felt so scared. Dude. And that for me was why it was so bad, because you had that shaky game 1, but you still managed to get it done. And you were like, okay. And then you beat the shit out of them in game 2. You have the advantage. You have the mental advantage. That was the only moment where this Kings team was like, we're not afraid of you. And even here, and like, that wasn't a big lead. You had a 1-goal lead going into this. Yep. And like, they tie it, but it's still like, okay, we've been here before. But when you challenge it, to me, that was the sign that showed the Oilers, like, we are afraid. We are afraid of losing this game to you. And that is why it was unforgivable for me.
Not exactly the same, because it was a difference in score, but you saw last night, Vegas gives up that goal to make it 3-2 by Hartman.
Yeah.
And there was a little hit. There's a whiff of goalie interference in there. Hill trying to get to the post, a lot of sticks in between his pads. And it's like, does Vegas challenge that? And they go, obviously not, because if we lose that challenge and then we give Minnesota a power play a chance to tie the game. Again, not exactly the same, because it was up. They were still up a goal, but that's what I'm trying to talk about. You have to think about the repercussions of what might come from the challenge, not just the moment. Ignore it, dude. It's done. Puck's in your net. Fucking reset. The challenge feels like such a... dude, even when teams are right about an offside challenge, sometimes I feel like that's such a fucking bailout move, because you're like, dude, you got scored on, and just move on and just start playing better starting now, instead of being like, wait, was he offside? I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude.
I know.
Yeah, I'm so with you on that.
All right, a couple seconds on what the Kings do from here, how they're feeling, and then I want to spend the rest of our time here stroking off this Oilers team, because they deserve it and their fans deserve it.
Kings, dude, there's some big changes coming, I think. I don't know how massive, whether that's front office style, that's roster side. But I think you've officially, unfortunately, by the way, reached a point where you're doing the insanity thing, where it's like, oh, we've built this team, and they retooled on the fly. They really did, kind of moving out of that Stanley Cup 20-teens dynasty, well, whatever, not dynasty, but like 2-cup run era, into like keeping these guys, adding some young talent, and staying very, very relevant. Very relevant. And I give the front office a ton of credit for that. But now you're like, well, we have a problem. And is it unfair that I play the Oilers every fucking year in the first round? Yeah, sure. Playoff format blows. But this, you can't win like this. So something has to change.
Yeah. I agree. I do think, unfortunately, big changes are going to happen. There were some people I understand right after a loss, you're a little angry. Some comments were talking shit about Doughty and Kopitar, and I cannot stand that. Don't forget, Doughty obliterated his ankle this year and came back and still played and was playing over 25 minutes a game. Kopi is, for the majority of your season, was your leading goal scorer. Mm-hmm. I think the problem is they're being asked to do too much. It's a failure in lineup and roster management that you have Kopi still being your number one center, being asked to do, going in this series, having to go up against Leon and Connor all the time.
Over and over and over.
Dewey having to be the one to stand up against them all the time. So I think that is something that needs to be fixed. I think those guys are still great, but there are definitely big changes coming because this one, like we talked about, it's not last year. When they lost last year, we were like, this Edmonton team's fantastic. Like, I was an idiot and I was like, the Kings could do it, but like that Edmonton team had it. This one was yours to lose. You had home ice and you were the better team on paper. Yep. No fucking doubt about it. So changes are coming. Now, getting into the Oilers here as we finish off this episode. I feel like for me personally, all of the I don't want to say the word doubts, but all of the questions I had about this roster. They lose guys like Fogle. Ekholm's not playing. It also sounds like Elliot Friedman announced that Ekholm won't be back for round 2 either, which is devastating. You lose Broberg and Holloway. You bring in Arvidsson, Skinner. They're not really doing it like you would want. But I think all of the questions I had about this Oilers team feel like they were kind of answered in a positive way in these last 4 games. So I think going into the next series, you've got to feel not blindly good, but pretty strong about your chances against Vegas.
I think so too. I think, like you said, whatever this is for them, the tune-up, whatever you want to call it, I thought similar to Vegas at the end of the Minnesota series, the Oilers are playing their best hockey now. The way they came out in Game 5 and in LA I was like, oh shit. It's you made this joke a while ago, but it's like the Max Baer thing in Cinderella Man when he comes flying out of the corner and everyone's like, oh my God, now he's awake now. The Oilers woke the fuck up in Game 5 of this series. And now all of a sudden I was clowning people that took them not to beat the Kings, but to go to the Cup. People were being like, I like Edmonton to run it back this year. And I was like, are you fucking high, dude? Look at the teams in the West. Look how much worse Edmonton is this year. You must be insane. And now watching them play the last 2 games, I'm like, that team has juice, dude. That team has the jump that could literally make another cup run. And who, I'm not saying I'm picking them to win it yet, but I am telling you that all of a sudden I'm seeing it too. And now I can see through the fucking trees. And I can see Connor and Leon in their eyes in the dark, their yellow eyes lighting up, staring back at me, dude. And it's fucking scaring me again. I'm getting those fears again. So here come the Oilers. And if you're anyone they have to play, that doesn't look good.
No fucking way. And I love how we've got a series here where I think we're seeing it in the chat. We're seeing it in the comments. We're seeing it on Twitter. Vegas fans are like, Knights in fucking 5, Knights in 6.
Yeah,
and Oilers fans are being like, Oilers in 6, bitch. Yep. Like, you guys fucking stink. So I love that we have a series here. I mean, listen, we talked about after LA was up 2-0, we were like, damn, like, Kings Knights would be really fun. Now I'm like, Oilers Knights is going to be a fucking blast. Tilt. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I think Jack Eichel is a top 5 player in the league. Him going up against Connor and Leon again. Connor and Leon, like I said, being quiet per their standards in that round 1 and still getting by in 6 games. Now you get to have them come in here. Like maybe they unlock. Like, are we about to see the Oilers rocket ship straight to the final again? It's definitely fucking possible.
Do you think what would have to happen to Pickard to go back to Skinner?
Oh man.
If Vegas lights him up in Game 1.
A Game 1 loss doesn't do it. A Game 1 loss with more than 5 goals maybe does do it.
And then you start Skinner Game 2.
Yeah, I would maybe be like, give it a shot. But I could see them being like, whatever. Yeah. Play Game 2.
But Skinner did this last year. Remember, he missed a bunch of time in the Vancouver series, and then he was like, takes the job back. I actually think the Oilers finish this. I'm calling this right now. The Oilers finish this playoff series either lifting the cup or getting eliminated with Stuart Skinner in net.
Damn, I kind of love that. All right, you got any final thoughts, chat? Any final thoughts before we bounce out of here?
We've got some incredibly juicy second round matchups. I'm fucking.
We really
thrilled.
do. As much as I want to get into them, chat. You know the drill. Podcast episodes come out Tuesday, Thursday. Make sure that you pop on those. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube, babes. Come on, subscribe to that YouTube. Follow us on all our channels. Over the weekend, we're going to be buzzing with you guys on our Instagram, on our Twitter, talking about all the games. But we will be back in this format on Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, talking about all of the matchups because round 2 starts on that Monday night. So for all of our previews, tune in Monday in this same format.
Steven says he's pissed we didn't take Big Buff in the players versus the Gorilla matchup.
I think Steven DM'd us, and I was like, I said active players.
Yeah, dude, because someone chirped me too that they were like, how do you not take Chara? And I was like, I was going to take Chara, but Dan said active players. So there was plenty of guys. There's plenty of guys we left out. But they're right. I did start dabbling in the non-active, so we should have taken Big Buff. He would be a very valuable ad. Very valuable ad.
Very valuable. All right, folks, that's going to be it for us on this episode of Empty Netters Puckline News, covering all the games, getting into all the nitty gritty. We've got an electric weekend coming up. Like I said, must-watch television.
At least one Game 7 already.
Oh, yeah. We got at least one. Let's check if we get another in the Jets-Blues game tonight. We can't wait to dial in with you guys on Monday. Make sure you follow us. Florida fans, Elbow 30, ELBO 30, 30% off on that Elbow Room tee. Guys, check out all of our other merch. It's amazing shit. We love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time, and we'll talk to you all weekend on our channels. And remember, while we watch hockey this weekend,
skate hard.